Hello.
Hey,
Uh,
what's up, dude?
how you doing?
I'm doing great. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. This is Art First, the Art First show with myself and Brian. Every episode, we aim to bring on a new artist and talk about them and their process and how they do what they do, and really kind of like deep dive into the creation of their artwork. And then the other part of our show is we do a bit of a show and tell. And each artist comes to the table with three different pieces of artwork that we've either collected or just really like. And we talk about it and really kind of just dive into the art. Yeah, this is what are we on? Episode 3 today. Very exciting, which
Yeah,
means that we have two others out there. That's we've made it.
it's now a trilogy.
And we can retire until Disney buys us, and then we make what, like 30 more or 60 more
Yeah,
for
the Pixar route. Yeah,
yes. Yeah, so I'm excited though. Today we've got an amazingly talented artist and friend. She's been around in the space for a long time, and her work is fascinating. Whether it's hand drawn, just stills, or animation, but we are excited to welcome to the show Parin Heidari. So let's see if that works. Here we go. Hello.
Hi!
Yay.
welcome, welcome.
Hello!
Welcome,
Thank
welcome.
you. So good to be here. So good to see both of you. Super excited for today and thanks for having me.
Of course. Well, first of all, tilt down the hat. Let's see what you got going on. Oh yeah,
Smart.
custom.
It's my best
And
friend. I mean,
what's that
who
drawn with?
is it's drawn with these markers, the puffy marker,
The
tulip
puff paint.
markers. So
Mhm.
yeah, it's quite like it's a 3D piece.
I
If you
love it.
can see that from here. Yeah. And I try to have it like fit on my head. It's a little bit big always. My head is not too big, so I hope it looks good on me.
Looks great. I like
No, it's
big
awesome.
hats.
Thank you.
This is
And I drew that. Mhm.
this is wonderful. Like, do you have? I mean, I don't know if it's like just a one of one hat, or do you have other hats or merch, or do you have stuff with your awesome designs on it?
I do. So this one is the very first hat that I've ever made in my
Nice.
life. And then it has 50 other one-of-ones like this. Some of them are crying, some of them have like closed eyes, some of them is they're like happy, so they're like different faces, all one-of-ones, all made by two hands at the same time, simultaneously. And only 4 of them are left on my website. So they're almost gone. And
Nice.
the next collection is a dad hat, which is black with a white embroidery, different faces, but like it's a white on black and it's a dad hat. So I prefer not to have like, it's too many mirrors exactly from the like same design or on the same hat. So the next one is completely different. And then the one after that, I have 2 different colors. So it's not going to be black and white, it's going to be blue and red.
I was gonna say, if we're
Alpha!
saying two colors, it's blue and red. Those are your colors.
Exactly.
Giants. That's perfect for New York.
Yeah.
I love that.
That's
That
awesome. Well, I
did.
mean, that's
You.
Go ahead.
go ahead. Oh, all
No,
right. You
please.
touched on a really important part of your kind of process, which is ambidextrous drawing. You want to talk a little bit about that and how you kind of came about that style? And I've seen you paint
Sure.
live, so I kind of already know, but I want you to explain it.
I'm gonna throw while you're talking about that. I'm gonna throw a piece up that's animated here, and you can also like talk about the piece. But yeah, let's get into ambidextrous because that is it's incredibly impressive. Because I can use two hands and it looks like garbage, complete garbage. But you've managed to
I don't
to
believe
yield
you.
that.
I'm pretty sure you make
Trust me.
beautiful, beautiful drawings with that.
You're too kind. Here, let me see if I can throw this up here for everybody to see this piece here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so ambidextrous drawing started almost, I think it goes back to like actually 20 years ago, not 12, 20 years ago. So it's way back. And it started with a thought of why don't we use our brain fully? because I read a lot of books about like how even Einstein used 7% of his brain. You know, all these smart people in the world, they say they didn't really like use all the capabilities of their brain fully. So I always had this thought like, what can I do to use it more? So I learned different languages, different arts, science, mathematics, physics, loved robotics, studied that at high school and all that. And then at the same time, I was like, so if I use all these different, let's say, parts or sides of my brain, there is no way that I can't add more to that daily. So I wanted to have some different challenges. Drawing definitely was one. And believe me or not, my drawing was really bad as a kid. I mean, so many people say we don't have a bad or good art, but compared to my classmates, whenever we had like, let's say an apple in front of us, everybody was so good at that. And I was like, no, I wanted to add something more. I wanted to take something out of that. And it usually made my teacher really annoyed because they were like, you need to first learn how to draw and then add whatever you want to do, or like, exaggerate that, or like cartoon, or I don't know, everything that I wanted to do. It was not really allowed at the classroom till I went to this house of cartoon, a place, super cool place back in Iran with all cartoonists and animators. I was 10 years old. I fell in love with like caricature exaggerating, you know, some part of the face, and also, you know, like the comic part of that. And I realized if I want to make cooler drawings, I have to be imperfectionist, not perfectionist. So the line drawing started that way with my right hand. And then later, because of years of thinking about like what I could do to use my brain better, I thought about why not using my other hand? Because, you know, for so many years, usually people use one hand or one foot if they're like football players, soccer, not football, or like usually in sport. You're so used to use the dominant one, and you just live this life without using like the rest of the body. So it started as a challenge. And also for a short period of time, my wrist was quite painful. So I couldn't really draw well. So I was like, let's do it with your left hand. And I was fascinated by the result of that because again, when I go back to my childhood, I always wanted to exaggerate drawings. I loved Egon Schiele, for example, the hands that he makes and like very thin bodies, and they can't be real. Like those bodies don't exist exactly. They're not hyper realistic. So I wanted to draw something close to his drawings, or Picasso sometimes, you know, like all these more line drawing artists. And to reach to the point that I was happy with my drawings, I had to not be perfectionist, or I had to look at the objects or subjects in not in a real way, if that makes sense. So like think about making their body slimmer or like way fatter, or you know, bigger nose or all that. And using my non-dominant hand helped a lot because I couldn't really control my lines. And even if I didn't want to exaggerate, it was exaggerated. And it was shaky. The lines were just beautiful. So basically for like 12, 13 years, I used my right hand to make something perfect. And then my left hand just came and made incredibly beautiful drawings. I was like, what? And also, I heard it from a psychologist once that he said, when you want to connect to your inner child, you use your non-dominant hand. And you can ask questions from your inner child and write them down with your non-dominant hand. So the first thing that I did before drawing was, what do you want? And she wrote ice cream with my left hand. I was like, what? And again, I was like, no, what do you want in this life? And again, she wrote ice cream. So my inner child just wanted ice cream. And I was like, okay, she's really funny. Let her draw. And those drawings started again many years ago, 20 years ago almost. And then adding my right hand to that, it's very funny, but it was only because I wanted to draw people on train. So I was commuting for work every morning to be awake before starting my job. I wanted to draw people, and it gave me a lot of like cool, you know, feelings, like draw people on trains or on buses. And sometimes some people were quite like offended because I had to stare in their faces and I had to draw. And I was like, no, it's not like I'm like doing anything. I'm just drawing. And then using my non-dominant hand helped to finish that drawing way faster. It was basically for that, challenging myself, being imperfectionist, and also finish a drawing as fast as I could. And then it became my style.
Yeah, that's really interesting. You touched on something that I forgot I used to do when I would work at jobs, and they'd be like, "We need something in the style of a kid's drawing." I would draw
Mm.
with my non-dominant hand to kind of
There
force
we go.
myself to be a little sloppier. So I totally relate to that, and I love that idea of kind of fast sketches. And also, if you do it with both hands, it's easier to not offend because you can say, "Well, it's a little sloppy on purpose." That's whenever I draw people, I usually preface it by being like, "Just so you know, I'm drawing this really fast. It's not going to be great. Don't be offended. It's not a mean caricature. It's
Right,
just a
right.
sloppy drawing."
Exactly.
I love
Yeah.
that. I love the idea that it's you channeling your inner child, like with with your left hand. And like you said, she wanted ice cream, and like just giving that side of your brain and your body its own identity, basically, to come up with, to let it kind of flow. That's fascinating. I think also just the idea when you're talking about, when you were in school and you were told you have to learn how to make an apple nicely so that you can, learn the rules to break the rules. And I think there's a lot of truth in there, but I think that people get hung up on the learn the rules part and get too fixated with getting perfect, and then forget that their styles are whatever their brains are going to do, right? Like I feel like that is anytime you see an artist who has a very identifiable, unique style, and you're like, wow, I love that. I haven't seen anything like that. How do they do that? It's because that's just who they are. When they, like,
Yeah.
after they've learned how to do anything within art, and you can learn concepts, but then they've allowed themselves to just do what comes out. So I see that a ton in what you do.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'd
that
love.
makes me really
Oh,
happy. Thank you.
I'm such a fan. I'm curious about this piece we're watching right here. So
Yeah.
to me, I'm gonna guess Procreate. Where did you draw this?
And so it started on so many papers. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm actually coming from let's say traditional
Hmm.
painting, drawing, and as I mentioned, when I was going to that house of cartoon with all these cartoonists, um, I learned how to animate on notebooks, like what Jake Fried, for example, does, which I'm a
Yeah.
huge fan of. Those sort of, like paintings or drawings on every single paper of a notebook. So I did those for so many years. Results were not like incredible, but I loved that process. And my very first animation that I had to do, don't know the English word of that. Is that rotoscopy, rotoscope, something like that?
Yeah.
Rotoscopic,
Rotoscope. Yep.
rotoscopy,
Yeah,
rotoscope.
rotoscopy, exactly. It was that. So I had to print 3 minutes of a movie and draw on every single frame of that and scan that on Photoshop. And a night before my deadline, my computer died. So that was, I think it was like 5,000 frames.
Yeah.
I
I'm
was
trying to
like
do the math.
18.
That
It was
sounds
really bad.
that sounds like so many
Trying to 60.
undergrad experiences right there. Just
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I had a Wacom, these small ones, one of those very first one, way before Bamboo or those ones.
Mhm.
And that day I learned my lesson to, have backup, and also like I also learned how to animate. So it helped me a lot to fall in love with this style of like drawing on a piece of paper. For this particular one, I bought my iPad a month before I made this animation. I never had an iPad. I always worked on Wacom. And I heard that from a lot of animators that iPad helps a lot. It's much faster, it's smaller, easier. So I bought that. And I still wasn't really confident in using Procreate because I didn't know it really well. So I came up with almost all these, like, there were a lot of keyframes of this animation that I created on a piece of paper. And then I redrew them one by one in Procreate. And I also wanted to draw each frame with two hands, which on
Mm.
Procreate, I could not do that. So I didn't want to cheat because I said this is with two hands and I didn't want to, like, make them all on Procreate. So a lot of that is scanning. My storyboards are usually on pieces of paper, and I actually make like a very analog storyboard on my wall rather than like
Nice.
making them on Photoshop. I just like touching paper much more than always create everything digitally. I love digital art, but I still feel like my hands draw better when I have a pencil or pen in my hand rather than just these very smooth, beautiful lines on Procreate. So yeah, that was how it's made.
Yeah, no, I love it. And I think you talked about rotoscoping, and the thing that I've learned from rotoscoping is learning how to reduce the amount of details, because if you have to draw 5,000 of these, you only want to get the most. And I can see that in your work where you've kind of boiled down these, portraits to the most emotional filled aspects. You get the most emotion with the least amount of lines. And so I totally I see that connection, lineage of what you're doing. It's really awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, and for anyone who might not know what rotoscoping is, out there listening, is rotoscoping is the art of basically tracing over film elements, right? So if if you have a person and you're going to do the outline of that person, and go frame by frame to do an outline of that person, a technique. I don't know if it was originally created by Disney, but I know that they leaned heavily into it in the early films, like Snow White, and where all the
Yeah, yeah.
characters are filmed.
Popeye might have beat him out, maybe.
Maybe, yeah, I'm sure,
Wow.
but they were all doing early tests with that. But basically, there's footage of actors and action, just acting out all of the scenes that we all know and love. But then they went back in and just redrew over top of it. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. Quite a bit of my work has rotoscope in it. It's a big part of my workflow. I love it. So when you drew this, to me, it flows so well. So you had keyframes in mind, and then you kind of went, kind of flow of motion, frame to frame, and then you hit these kind of keyframes as you went.
Almost, because making that on Procreate, well, now thanks to Procreate Dreams, it's much easier. But obviously on Procreate, I could only have a background and a foreground and 100 layers. This is way more than that. So I couldn't really use those keyframes, right? I had them more in my mind. So I did have, let's say, the first one and the last one for those 100 frames. And I created everything in between from scratch. So it wasn't really like done by hand. It was the first one by hand, the 100th, the 150th, like those ones. And the rest of that, it just came with music. So this is with a soundtrack of Timbaland, one of his pieces that I made for Time Pieces from Time Magazine. It was his first NFT drop when he entered NFT space. And I do have synesthesia. So synesthesia is when you have very different emotions related to noise, voice, music, numbers, days of the week. It changes from a person to another. But for me, the strongest one is to numbers, letters, and music. Music is a huge part of my life. I don't need drugs. I don't need alcohol. For me, music does everything. It's just like it makes me so excited and happy and sad sometimes and nostalgic. Like it really affects my whole mood. And I'm sure for like majority of people is like that. But for me, it's not only that. I see a lot of things out of every single track that I listen to. This one, it's a minute 23 seconds song. Doesn't have any vocals. It's just a repeated, let's say, like melody. And I think I listened to that for like 5 days, full days, 1 minute, 5 days, morning to night. And every time it gave me different feelings, emotions. I had to go back and forth between my frames, change them. So many of these frames were remade. And obviously, if I change one frame, I had to change like 20 before that. So it was a lot of work to like go back and forth and change them to capture the exact feelings that I got from the whole track. So yeah, the creation of that was basically for his song. It wasn't a story that I had in mind. And most of my work is like that. I just listen to music. I don't think about anything before. And whatever I get from that music, I create them, whether it's animation or drawing or painting, it always works like that.
I love that. I apologize that I don't know yet how to figure out. This is the learning part of the show. I don't know how to get the audio to come through in this. I'll keep trying though.
I can
But
imagine a dope Timbaland soundtrack.
it is a dope Timbaland soundtrack. We'll have a link after the show is done. We'll send out a bunch of Twitter links with all the things that we talk about, including your piece here, so people can take a look at it then. But that's really cool. It feels, I mean, a lot of your work really does feel like it moves to a beat, right? So I can see the influence that sound has in your work, and I feel like I really I love the flow of this though. Like to go from one to the other, like I can really appreciate it. Like I know how hard that is, and I think it's interesting that you do it. You did the keyframes, and you worked like to not let yourself just be digital, but to have like a connection to the tactile, to bring that back to like who you are and what you do. Have you done, man, I wish there was a way then that you could do if you wanted to try digitally with two fingers or something like that, because that would also just be interesting to see what happens when you're given a tool like that.
Yeah.
But
I
no, I
should
think
make one,
they should.
make
You
a tool
should.
like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Do it in like VR maybe if you use both controllers.
that's true. Have you ever done any
Yeah.
VR work? Because that
I
would be.
have. I actually have, and because of that, the incident of my eye happened. I don't know if you're aware of that or not, but like it was a really unfortunate thing, which actually led to a lot of incredible opportunities. It's a really funny story, but I ended up in England quite accidentally 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. It was Fioche's private opening at Mondor Gallery. I was there for 5 days, and I met an incredibly cool musician who is best friends with BT, Christian Burns. They have their band together. I met him at the gallery, and I told him about my Synesthesia thing, and he's a musician. He was like, "Let's work together." And I was like, "Why not? Let's do that." So we had a really cool project, 5 pieces, 5 animations called Parallel Hopes. I stayed in England for 3 months to work on those 5 pieces. And that was my very first physical connected to like digital and NFTs and let's say music experience ever. And after that, our second drop was called Parallel Fears, which was about our fears. So the first one was about our hopes. Everything was quite like light and beautiful. The second one was actually a dark project, and I wanted to give more um, darker feelings to that, not in a bad way, but more like the fears of unknown or loss or everything that maybe in the back of our head we always have the fear of. So my fear is fear of darkness. It can be darkness, like literally dark, or darkness of unknown or not being able to see, like ocean, for example, all these dark or black environments. So I decided to go to a forest in England with a VR glasses, Oculus, and create everything in complete dark environment at like 1 in the morning, 12 a.m. with Christian and Mark, who was our photographer. We went there and I created a whole new world in VR with Christian's music. He was playing live and I was creating the whole world around me. It was neon green and complete darkness. And we did that for a few days. The animations were done by those VR sculptures that I made actually. And those ones were with 2 hands. Funny enough, I could draw with 2 hands. But then a few weeks later, I had one day with no reason, my right eye started having a lot of floaters, like really dark floaters that I couldn't see well with my right eye, which was very scary. And I talked about that in our project a few weeks prior. I was like, my fear is not being able to see. And it happened to my eye, like literally 2 weeks after that. And I couldn't see well. I was so scared. So that, and my doctor said it can be for no reason. It happens to some people, or it can be because I had the VR glasses like really tight and I was using that like morning to night. So it might have like did something to my, I don't know. But that project unfortunately stopped. But it was my experience with VR. And because of that, I created a lot of abstract pieces of how I see these floaters. And I was invited to a lot of cool projects thanks to my eye condition. Yeah.
That's
That
awesome.
is in a weird universe manifesting kind of way, right?
Very true.
But that's, I mean,
Yes,
in general, that's what we as artists do, right? We take, a situation that we're dealing with, and we find a way to channel that and to filter it into the work that we do, and that usually is pretty therapeutic. And I love that it opened up doors for you. That's really cool. I went looking
absolutely.
here. I found the first project. I didn't find the second one yet. What was these are gorgeous, gorgeous pieces here, but this is maybe this is just your website that has this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's just my website. Yes, this is the prints, my hat. That's it. I'm very lazy in making this website better. As
Oh,
many
there's
artists
it.
always like, yeah, that's it.
All
There it
right.
is.
Forefront.
That's the OG.
Yeah.
I love that though.
Yeah, but
This
I
is
have to
really
add
cool.
more. Thank you. Yeah, these prints are still available, like few of them, because they're also numbered and limited. But I think
Hmm.
from each, almost maybe 5 or 6 has remained. And then as soon as they're done, I'm gonna bring more drawings. Less emotional these times. So it's like it changes by season usually. Like every 6
Yeah.
months or like 3 months, yeah, new work comes back.
I love
Yeah.
that. Your work would work really well with a plotter printer.
Ooh.
Because those
Yeah,
you can basically just have a marker retrace your original line work.
that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Happy to
No,
show you when you come back to New York. We can do
Yes.
one.
I mean,
Amazing.
if she comes back to New York, I mean, it's cold here.
I am. I am right after Art Basel. Yeah, for at least for 2 weeks, and I think I'll be always back and forth. I can't choose one coast. I love both of them. They have like they're very different, but at the same time, a lot of things in common. So it's so hard to choose one. Yeah,
uh,
LA and New York. I love them.
yeah,
They're both
yeah,
great. Yeah.
yeah. If I could be bi-coastal, I think I would too. There's so many good things happening on the other side too. So many great art openings. I know you were just out there, or you're out there now, right? Working on a piece for something for a show you got coming up in Basel, right? With Transient Labs.
Yes, that's
I'm
true. I
gonna see
flew
if I can pull
actually
that
to
up.
LA for that. I just came here for that first, and also because the weather is much nicer now. But I
Very
also
cool
flew
here.
here, yeah, and it's a very interesting, let's say, technology, the trace technology of Transient. Transient has always been very innovative. I love working with them. And also, I work with Makerspace as well. So it was really cool to have both of them
Oh wow.
together for Art Basel. And this is my very first ever wood piece. So it was all made
I
by
love.
wood. It took me days of creating. I was not expecting that to take me like that long because I was like, oh, it's just a wood. You cut it, you paint it. Definitely not like that. It was way more complicated. And yeah, with help of Carlos, incredible Carlos M. Galactico, he
Yeah,
could help me like all the cut and everything in his studio here. I could make it. So this one has a trace technology, and it's gonna be in Miami for during the whole Art Basel.
I was looking. There it
Awesome.
is. I was looking for this. That's awesome. So the trace technology is basically a tamper-proof, verifiable NFC chip that resides inside of the artwork, essentially. At the back, but it's like attached to, so it attaches and it links to the blockchain, right?
That's very true. Yes, exactly. That's like the best bridge between digital and physical world, in my
Yeah.
opinion, because before we had that, but also this is like way more advanced. And I'm pretty sure much more is also about to come. It's not like the first and last one. It's going to be like more, yeah, it's going to be even more than what it is right now. So I'm very excited for the whole development of those technologies, especially like Trace, because we all know there are a lot of incredible physical artists that they don't want to come to the NFT space because their understanding is NFT space is only for digital art. They
Hmm.
still call NFT digital art. I'm like, this is not digital art at all. You can be a physical artist and still be a part of NFT space, use the technology of blockchain. So yeah, I'm very, very, very excited about all of these innovations.
Yeah, because I think at some point we're, you know, people, it's easier to quantify things when you can put them into boxes, right? But and people didn't know how to speak about a lot of this stuff early on, and so we kind of like I look forward to breaking free from the concept of just digital art and just getting closer to just art, right? Because
Yeah,
I understand the need for people to parse that out, but it does kind of put people in a mental state that locks them into like that, it keeps them from fully exploring what art can be, right? I feel like that's and it holds some people back. And again, the space in general, it's got a lot of good, but the bad stuff gets to the news, and so it's not helping us. But it's so unfortunate because there are so many really amazing use cases. So I'm hopeful that a lot more people will start to see things like the trace technology, like just the ideas of using the blockchain as an authenticator and not saying necessarily this is the original piece of art, right? Like it's just saying, look, this is a certificate, this is the COA that says this maybe physical piece is authenticated that way. So
exactly.
yeah, I think it's it's still early enough that we can make moves to get there, and I think that we will in time.
Yeah.
I'm optimistic, at least.
So,
Same.
when and where can I see this in Miami next week?
So it's in Sagamore Hotel in
Okay.
Collins Avenue. We have Makerspace and Transient show together from 5th to 11th. And then there will be panels. There are 12 artists, incredible artists there. We're all going to speak also at a panel. I think it's on 8th. I'm going to definitely
Okay.
send you more details. And so it's going to be our show, panels as well, and many other activities there at Sagamore Hotel. So I would definitely, definitely invite you to come there and all our viewers to join us for sure.
Yeah, please.
Yeah,
It'll be fun.
sure.
I'm excited to see all the works.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. So I think this is as good a time as any. If you guys are down, we could roll into our next part of the show, the
Yeah.
show and tell. You guys good for that?
Well, can I ask one more
Yes.
question?
No.
What color is Adam's voice?
Oh my God, I love this question. So it's funny because Adam's voice, so something happens in me, not always, but sometimes when I know someone in person, their
Mm.
colors slightly change. Adam's voice in the beginning of Clubhouse was blue, and now is blue and yellow.
Hmm.
When I know him in person, Adam for me is the children's drawing of sun and a sky is exactly that, like blue sky with a sun. That's
I
Adam.
like that.
I'll take it. I'll
On
take
point.
it.
Yeah.
do we go
Uh,
down this rabbit hole? Because like I kind of want to know what Brian's voice is now that I know that
I was about to say
there's a color. Like we
that.
can't not know mine and not know his. Let's do it. It's
So
dark and daggers and lots of like blood red. Is that what you're getting?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
that's what I'm getting.
Like the shining
not at all.
elevator.
Shining.
Oh my God. So Brian's voice is very interesting because his colors have a lot of white in them. You both
Hmm.
are painters and you know what I mean. So I see really nice like green, like mint green. It's not a sharp green, it's like mint green, which has a lot of white and same kind of like, let's say 80% white, 20% red, which is a really nice pink as well. So it's like mint and pink, these two together.
Mm. It's
And I
Hmm.
like
feel like you use those colors a lot
it's
in your
true,
work.
yeah. It's like a mint cherry ice cream.
I like
Perfect. That's it. Yeah. Or mint strawberry, I would say, because cherry
Ooh,
ice cream
even
might be
better.
darker than
Yeah.
strawberry.
Awesome. Well,
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, let's get into show and tell.
All right. One of the fun parts about show and tell is that I'm the only one who has seen any of the artwork that is going to be shared outside of the you guys having picked it. So everyone's going to kind of look at this mostly for fresh eyes, and we kind of chop it up. So let's get into it. Okay. So
I got my looking glasses ready.
very good. I'm gonna get my peering eyes. Let's start with a piece that that Parin brought to the table,
All
and
right.
that is going to be a piece that I don't know if it has a title, but it's very cool. And it is from the artist Monster Mike. And it is
Yes.
an AR piece that is
That one.
just phenomenal. Just phenomenal AR piece.
Yay.
And can you hear that music? No, of
No,
course
Can't
not.
hear it, but I
Okay.
love it.
It's amazing. And this, I mean, I'm not entirely sure. I saw it as a VR pointer, right? Like some sort of like an Oculus pointer. So I don't know. I would imagine this is being looked at through VR goggles. But it is just gorgeous use of animation and the space. You want to tell us a little bit about what you're liking here?
I would love to. I
Please.
like everything about it. Everything. First of all, it's black and white, and you know my obsession with black and white. Second is it has a lot of lines and a lot of like really strong lines. And third is I love illustration part of that, storytelling part of that, and the technology. I think it's the best combination of everything that I'm very passionate about. Drawing, painting, storytelling, sense of humor that I can have there. Also, sadness. I always have that both in my art as well, and technology. And just like being immersed in a world like that, what can be better than that? Nothing.
Mm.
When I saw it first, oh my God, I was like, wow, I've never seen such a thing before, ever, ever, literally ever. I was like,
Yeah.
and I've been in art world since I was a kid because of my parents. Like I grew up with art, and I was like, no, this is different. And this person, Monster Mike, he's amazing. Like, just look what he made. And then, funny enough, last night I was able to experience that in person. So I was at RL Alpha in LA. He was there, the artist then, and I could wear the XR, the VR glasses, and I was a part of this, not this particular artwork, his next piece, which he was showing that in Dubai at Leila Heller Gallery, which is, as we all know, like one of the best galleries in the world. He had another piece which was longer than that, with an incredibly beautiful music from Debussy, and like super, super cool piece. That I was a part of that. I saw that and I was like, the piece was huge. It's interactive. Some part of that you have to help Jeff, who is the main character here. And he goes through like ups and downs of life. Like it's all around you. I had never seen such a thing. I saw VR, I saw AR, but like this is next level because you're in there and you see the whole room as well. It's crazy. And let's even, yeah, just the technique and the drawing. And yeah, I'm just super, super excited that you chose this one from my selection.
No, I love this piece. I saw it
Yeah.
on Twitter shortly after he posted it, and I immediately DM'd him. I'm like, "How? How did you do this?" And they told me he like custom built the app that's running it, which is just even
That's
more
true.
amazing.
Yeah.
So I hope he opens it up for all of us to play around with because this is such an awesome way to like build animation in a room.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So cool.
mean, yeah, yeah. He's too humble, but yeah, the whole world needs to see what he's making.
Yeah, I'm a
Yeah,
big fan of the Jeff series in general, but this
same.
one, this like elevated what I thought of what he could, because he was kind of doing these funny comics and stuff, and then this just blew my mind as to like
Yeah.
all the stuff
Yeah,
he was actually creating.
yeah. No, I agree.
This is amazing, an amazing pick. Yeah. Thank you for sharing this. This really does stand out. I saw it on Twitter also a while ago, and it was like it's the kind of thing that just stops you in your tracks because it looks like magic, right? Like
It is.
you can imagine being in that space, and the fact that you can do things like that, like interact with the animation, and then you get this story that unfolds all around you and uses the space. Like that's the
Yeah,
he's is effectively using the space to tell the story. So yeah, no,
Exactly.
I'm a fan. This is so good.
Exactly. Well, hopefully we all can be at his next show.
Yeah.
When you experience that in person, it's just next level. It's Oh
Yeah,
my god, it's mind blowing.
All right, let's keep going. We're gonna pull up one of Brian's pieces next, and
I
let's
forgot
see.
what I even put in. So this will
Oh,
be a surprise to me too.
even better. Let's go from black and white to black and white. We
Hmm.
have got
Yes.
Human Unreadable Number 72 by Operator.
Yes. So
What are we looking
Operator,
at?
awesome. They just won the Lumen Prize. They're just an incredible duo. And this piece, uh, this there's a depth to these projects that I recommend people go look into. I love this Art Blocks collection. It's an Art Blocks curated. It's kind of mixing photography and generative. But what I really loved, I think you can open up the other piece, was
Mm-hmm.
that the holders of this piece then got to mint this custom dance routine that each piece has.
Love
And I
that.
believe in Art Basel, they'll be giving dance instruction lessons to people. But I just love this idea of that there's the piece and then there's the performance. And I can't show you how this revealed, but on the website you get kind of a slideshow of each step and how to perform it and all this stuff. But I love that they use these kind of stick figures, and you get this printout of a performance. And the bonus of this project, I think, is that the first 100 mints in the collection get to have the performance done of their piece by Operator, the duo. And so I'm not sure if that's happening at Basel or not, but I'm excited to see my piece is performed by professionals and not me.
Okay,
But I
that's
just think it's so cool.
I love that. This is really cool.
incredible.
Yeah.
Okay. Is each one of these generative in that like the dance moves are generative? Like they make a bunch and then you don't know what you're going to get in a
That's a
mix,
good question. I don't
or
know.
were they like,
Hmm.
yeah, I wonder.
I imagine that they reference the traits in the project because you can see them at the bottom there, where there's like simultaneous performers, stage front, distance.
Yeah.
So that was all kind of in the original piece traits, I believe. So I think it's kind of pulling that to create this generative mint.
Yeah. All of that there. That is really special. That's really fun. I had no idea.
Love
I
that.
saw this and this was like I was like this looks like uh, somebody trying to translate an IKEA catalog. Like I didn't understand what it was,
It does have an IKEA vibe.
but it felt special. That's even more incredible knowing that it's related to performance art and a dance routine. Like I love that. I don't think I've seen that done in the space.
Yeah.
This is really cool. Yeah,
All
I'd
right.
never seen such a thing before either.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. So I picked a few pieces that I thought were pretty awesome. I don't own this piece, but I think it's gorgeous, and I'm a big fan. And I don't want to mispronounce, but I think it's, unless you guys know, is it Bowie Boy or Bowie Boy?
I don't
I'm
know.
not.
I think Booey Boy, I think.
Yeah. Oh, this one, the 11 Cows City.
Make it bigger. I
Ah,
want it.
it's super rare. It gets too big. Hold
Oh.
on. It's the weird thing where if I go full screen, then we all disappear. And that's apparently it. That's it seems to have gotten smaller. This full screen seems to have gotten smaller. I don't understand. But here,
One
what
second,
happens
I
if,
have to let my cat out of the room.
yeah. Oh. You're I wanted to go full screen. We lost Brian to his cat.
I'm back.
Tell
My
me.
cat doesn't like being on camera. He's anonymous.
Well, you got to put like a PFP over top of your cat's face.
No, I love this piece. I love
Tell me
this
what
artist.
happens when I go full screen. Tell me what happens if we all disappear, or if you see what are we looking at on your end?
It's full in black
It's
and white
better.
or black
Okay.
background. It's great.
I just can't see anything. That's fine. I can see the art. That's all I need to see. So yeah, it's gorgeous. And it's all, they've done a really remarkable job of creating their own style. I love the paper texture that's over everything always. It feels like whenever I look at like you fly on an airplane, you get the manuals that tell you, don't jump out the plane and help somebody in front of you and put on a mask. It feels like that, but like in an incredibly artistic, like just next level kind of way. Like there's a vibe to that works, and they're creating this world with all these little pieces and vignettes, and it's throughout all their work like this, and I absolutely love it. I love the colors, I love the storytelling, I love the chaos, the controlled chaos in here. Yeah,
A
that's
lot of Easter eggs in it. I see a lot of references to artists. I see Grant's cow. I
yep,
see Rip Cash.
yep.
I see that background
OX
looks like
GPT.
Jello. Yeah,
Or
it's
Yeah.
OX, yeah. Well, that could be why
OXGPT.
there's two,
Uh,
right? It could be
There's
Ripcash
the
and
ringer
OX.
circles are up in the top left. I think that's Tijo wearing the mask, maybe.
Teacher, yeah.
It feels
Like
like
an
it.
homage to a bunch of
Yeah.
different artists.
Yeah,
No, I love this art. I've collected their
I
work in the
love it.
past on like Nifty Gateway, but I hadn't seen this piece before. This is really cool.
yeah. It's up
I
on
love
Super.
it.
Um, just incredible use of color too. Like I love the orange window above the main figure. I don't know, something about that. Like
Yeah.
it just works really well. I'd seen other pieces of theirs in the past, and every time it comes across my timeline, I pause and I just dive in.
Yeah.
It's so good. I just want to like look at it forever because there are a lot of, again, Easter eggs and also like all these details. It's
Hmm.
perfect. So good.
Do you
And
think?
the colors, oh, so good.
Yeah, man.
Good pick. That's
Thank
great.
you. All right, let's
Yeah.
go. Let's go back to Parin. Let's get your next
Hi.
pick up here. Let's see which one did I. Oh, that's cool. You can't see what is dropping down. All right. Very good. Here we go. This is the next piece. Hyper Venus by Viola Rama. Is that yeah,
Viola Rama, I
Viola
think. Not
Rama?
sure. Yeah, I
Okay.
think so.
So why don't you tell us a little bit
Yeah.
about what you like here and what's going on?
So, when AI started being like more, in the space, like at the beginning, I was like, oh, I don't like AI at all. AI is gonna take jobs away. AI is this, AI is that. I went to
Mm,
all Twitter spaces to talk bad about AI. I was like, no, this is not good. It's just a couple of words. And then slowly, especially with what Obscura DAO has done, I am at a point that I'm like so in love with AI because there are so many incredibly talented artists that they know how to use AI in order to create something that is just their own style. You see their signature there, and it's not only about words anymore because, again, it's a tool. We all know that. How to use that tool matters. We see all these like faces. There are a lot of like melting faces. Like it's enough to write down two words in Midjourney, and you see those AIs all over this space. There is no style. It's like doing something that so many other people do in the world as well. But these ones, especially her work, every single collection that she has, all of these pieces, they have her style there. Like you understand it's from her. The colors, this color, the face, the emotions in the face, even when you don't see those emotions, you feel that. For me, she's alive. She's just in front of me. She's suffering from things. She's numb in the life. And like the whole composition and the colors is just so amazing. And I make portraits all the time. So I'm very passionate about artists that they work on portraits as well. Doesn't matter if it's AI or drawing or painting. When I see them, it just makes me stop and go deeper like in their art and just, see what they're doing. But this particular piece, because of I think the composition, the color, this one as well. I didn't know if I wanted to choose this or the one that I chose actually. I like both
yeah,
of
no,
them.
I don't mind showing a bunch of them because I had
Yeah.
first of all I had no idea it was AI.
Yeah,
Um,
same.
I mean
Maybe
that's
maybe it's not. Now I feel terrible, but I think it is.
Well, I
we
looked
can.
at it and I was like, is that a photo or is it CGI? And then I didn't even think about AI, but it could be.
Maybe it's not AI then, but I saw her submissions a lot in
So
AI
good.
open calls. That's how I discovered her. So
I
we
mean,
will
I don't
see.
mind not knowing, but also
Exactly.
they're 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 amazing. Look at this is gonna give me nightmares, but it's amazing. I'll go with wow. Wow. I mean,
It's AI. The tag is AR surrealism, so it's AI.
Okay.
I was feeling terrible at the beginning. Like I was like, oh my God, what if it's not AI?
No, but like, oh man, but it doesn't, it could,
I love Brady's comment here. It's like if with Masco we're channeling Lady Gaga and Mario Catalan. So good.
Good call,
That's
Brady.
Yeah.
I mean, just in general, AI art. I don't know. I've been playing with it for a long time now, and I think it's brilliant. I think that you can do for as many meh things that come out. There's just as many possibilities and amazing art. It's just like it's a medium, and I think that
Yes.
we're getting a little bit closer to it just being a discussion about art and less about a discussion about the medium. As time progresses, because it's I don't care how this is made, if it's not,
It's a process either way.
exactly.
Very
I have
true.
plenty
Yeah.
of AI art that I've never released because I don't know how to do, like, you know what I mean? Like I like doing too many things. Shout out to Nuclear Samurai, an AI artist, that goes from
Love
style to style, but it still feels like something that they're doing, like it's their work, in consistency, but like experimenting. Like I feel like I want to do 2024 a little bit differently and experiment more, and just lean into some weirder stuff that I want to put out there that I don't know how to, put in a box. What do you guys think about, like, I know artists debate, some artists are, they try something different and they don't want to mix it with their own stuff, so they make it a separate account. Like, I've been leaning more towards not doing something like that. I mean, I get why people do it, but whether it's AI or not, if they're just like, oh, I want to do photography, but I'm not known for photography, what do you guys think about all that?
I think when you have established your brand fully, then you can add like that other medium to that. But when you're at the beginning of like the artist journey and people don't know you well, it's not really the best idea to like have photography and illustration and animation and this and that. Because there are a lot of artists that they just enter the NFT space, for example. They have like 500 followers. They go often to the spaces, but no one has ever collected their art. And then they post for a month their illustrations, and then they introduce photography and then AI. I think that is a little bit harmful for the brand. Whereas when like both of you, everybody knows you and your like art and brand, and then when you add another angle to that, I don't look at it as something harmful at all, because also it's another part of you, and if you do it well in AI, it still has your signature on that. And I'm pretty sure you will do that, because whoever sees your pieces is going to be like, oh, that's from Adam. It's not just a random AI generated thing, because you know art, you know composition, you know everything about like having a really well done piece of art, and I'm pretty sure you're going to apply that to AI as well. So if you ask me, it's a little bit different from you to someone who does not have a brand and just gets excited about new technologies. That's not the best idea in my opinion. But in your case, it's definitely, you can, in my opinion, have your own Twitter with different mediums.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think I
dig
think
it.
it's I dig it. I think it's valid points. I think it's important, even if you're not minting things, right?
Yeah.
In different styles. I think it's important, even if even if you're not even sharing it, just to experiment, kind of like always
Mhm.
experimenting. There was a thing I put out earlier this year. I made my own, like my first generative piece, and I came up with the look of the basic look of it by feeding my own art to AI and getting responses back. And then I looked at that and I used and I fell in love with what it was giving back to me. And then I kind of like made my own version, like I redrew and made my own version of what it spat back at me from me feeding it my art. And I thought that was really kind of a fun process that then I made a whole collection just of, on my own, but like referencing the thing that it gave me back. So I don't know. I think there's a lot of fun that can come with tools like that.
Yeah. I minted my very first AI collection a year and a half ago on Foundation. Sold
Yes.
3 pieces. The rest of there are still there. I never talk about it, but when you look at those faces, you still see my drawings there. And I just used Dolly. It was Dolly,
Yeah.
very
It's the
simple, but
goldfish, right? The goldfish series.
exactly, exactly. You still
I
see the
love it.
face. I usually have like these faces with like the jaw lines and all that, and I could get exactly what I wanted to from AI. And it was funny because for so many years, I was inspired by people's faces and I drew them. And this time my thoughts inspired AI to create those faces. It was the other way around, and that's how I fell in love with AI. But before that, I hated that. And then I was like, wow, why am I hating something like that? It's like, oh, I hate computer. It's as stupid as that. So yeah.
All right. Well, right on. Let's keep it going. Let's go. Let's see some more art. Let's go to Brian. Brian, we got 2 pieces from an artist that we're going to look at. This is Eye of the Beholder.
Beautiful.
Is it
Steven or Stefan Vasement.
okay?
Um,
I love
so
it.
again, we're going into an AI artist right now that I
Mm-hmm.
think is doing stuff. But I've chatted with him, and he uses AI, but then brings it in and adds more stuff in like Illustrator or Vector Wise to kind of clean it up and make it aligned. But he created this series, and he has a bunch of different series, but I'm a big fan of this one called Steel, that kind of have these cars that are exploding or kind of going into each other, and they're this very action packed scene, but very muted colors that give it a very kind of graphic uh, feel. And I'm just a big fan. The first time I saw it, I couldn't tell it was AI. I was like, oh, this must be just a crazy vector thing. And here's another piece from that collection.
Gorgeous
I'm
Wow.
though.
I'm just a huge fan of just I don't know the chaos and like crisp cleanness of it at the same time.
Yeah, it is.
This is like a Chamberlain piece, but on steroids.
Mm-hmm. It's fascinating though. Like you said, the cleanness, right? So like clean lines, but also like, for a vehicle in general, it's like a brand new vehicle or like a bunch of vehicles that just get piled on top of each other because
Yeah, yeah,
there's not even scratches on them, right? Like that's really interesting to see something like that because yeah, and it looks and it doesn't again, it doesn't feel like, AI and I think there's some AI, I love that it feels a certain way, like contrived and weird, and some stuff I love the blurry line of not knowing what it is.
yeah.
These are
Yeah, I
great.
love the red too. Using
Hmm.
red is always challenging because it's such a strong color. And then
So
if you use it like too much, it's so hard to control that. And I just love how it's like spread out everywhere and at the same time in the center. Oh my God, I love it.
it's like a ping
It's
pong. You
so
kind of
good.
brings your eye like
Exactly.
left, right, you back and forth, but it's not
Yeah.
it's not overwhelming either.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's put out different series, and even though they're kind of different stylistically, that he had whatever he's doing, he has a lineage between it that you can tell it's him. Like that
Yeah,
one's much more graphic, but you can just tell from this. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the way the line work feels or something. But there is a correlation between the works that you see it on the timeline. You go, oh, that's that guy. That's
yeah,
Basement.
yeah,
But yeah,
Wow.
it's funny that we're timing it with AI back to back.
yeah. I didn't intend to. I was just moving about.
Yeah.
All right, so I've got one up next. It is you know, I I think I think there's AI involved. This is not intentional. This is just us finding things we think are dope.
Yeah.
But man, yeah, I'm pretty sure this is AI, but it's I love it. And if it's not,
Beautiful.
there's something going on here.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Oh, wow.
all right. So in general, I usually don't gravitate towards pieces that are so frenetic, and they're hard to watch, but there's something just magical about this collection. So this is Weirdo Haste by Dead Ghost. And when I saw it, it stopped me in my tracks. And it's funny because whenever I've done AI generations, and it kicks you back like so many things that are great that you're just like, oh, I like that, but then I like this and I like that, and this is that exact like version of someone who said, I like all of them, and I
Yeah.
want you to see all of them. But it works. It's just it works really, really well. And when I think about glitch art, I don't think of this is the first time I'd seen someone do something with the effect of glitch art, but applied to generative versions of the same thing, whether or not they're making them or it's by hand or it's AI or a mix. I'm not sure, but I think it's fantastic.
Yeah. Second piece with the security camera reference in it too. That one looks especially like OXDGB
Yeah.
homage.
Yeah,
I
just
think
as the single.
what I see here is it goes back to what we were talking about with rotoscoping. The process of this is essentially AI rotoscoping, where they're
Yeah.
getting a base image
Yeah.
and they're letting it generate based on that base image, and you get that same kind of cool effect where everything aligns to the motion really well. I love it. It has a real graphic novel feel to the line work to it.
Yeah.
It's
It
so
Makes me want to pause it.
satisfying yeah, to watch. It's just
I
like
don't
each time there's something new there. I love it.
I don't think you can pause it.
No, it's
It's not.
okay. I love
But
that the weird thing on the right, the white thing, maintains a
Yeah.
weirdness. It never resolves really.
yeah. No, there's something
It's so good.
incredibly special about this. And maybe one day we'll have this artist on to talk about process, because I'm fascinated by it. And I love the motion that comes, the energy that comes from this. And they have other works that are equally as amazing. But this one was the one that really, really caught my eye.
Yeah.
Just how quick things were going. And yeah, like this one is
Cool.
also
Dead
similar
Ghost.
in that Dead Ghost.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look at that.
They're
Whew.
so good.
Yeah. All right, let's keep it moving. Let's go to your third piece that you've selected, Parin. Here we go. So we're going to pull ourselves
Yes.
back from the chaos and intensity, and we're going to go. And just like the moon, we must go through phases of emptiness to feel full again. By Taimaz. Am I saying Taimaz right, or Taimaz?
Yes, Taimaz.
Taimaz. I got it.
Correct.
Excellent.
Yeah. So Taimaz is definitely one of my favorite photographers and humans in this space. Extremely talented, extremely humble as well. I've known her since 7 years ago, actually, before NFT space. She was with me the moment that I entered NFT space, and she made fun of me a little bit because we were sharing the whole house together. And she was like, "Well, never like really made fun of me," but she was like, "What is she doing on Clubhouse every day?" Few months later, she entered NFTs, and she's way more active than I am right now. She's behind Obscura DAO, does a lot for them, creates incredible collections, curates events. Like she does everything. And I could never like imagine that day because she's quite introverted, always takes photos in her own world, and now she's like doing a lot in the NFT space, which I'm very happy about. But the reason that I chose this one is not only because how much I love her and her work, is because she works a lot with flowers, and they're not AI, they're all like photos from flowers. The colors that these have, the composition, they're very simple. At the same time, it doesn't miss anything. It has everything. Like the shadow is there, the whole flower itself, like as simple as it looks, it has, again, it's complete for me. And all her photos are like that. They're all blue and red, black and white, yellow and purple. Like they have great color combinations and great feelings that I receive from these photos. It might be because of my synesthesia as well, but I hear music in her photos always. And this one, it's funny, I didn't read the title first. The moment that she had the collection out, I went through them. I was doubtful between three of them. There was a tulip, this one, and a blue and red one, because blue and red is my color, but also black and white. So I felt I was at a time, like in my whole life, that it was about to complete a phase in order to go to the next one, and I had to say goodbye to a lot of things that they were not good for me,
Mm.
and I had to find myself again and go through the next step very strong. So when I saw that, I just saw myself there. I was like, this flower looks tired, but is still strong and needs to,
It
raise her
needs
head
some
and
love.
just
Yeah.
move. Exactly. And this photo did magic to me. I collected that and things changed in my life right away. So I resonated a lot with that. And then I read the title. I was like, oh my God, that's me. So without even doubting, I was like, this is mine. I'm gonna get it. I collected her work a lot before as well because I believe in her a lot, and also I know her talent. I know what she's doing in this space, and I feel like we need more people like her for sure. That they don't give up because she's been doing photography, doesn't like so many of us that were affected by this market. I don't say like she's selling every day, but she keeps doing that. She brought AR now. She's working on generative art. Like she's learning, and not only art itself. For me, it's also important to know how artists are looking at this space, how they keep creating daily, regardless of the market situation. So, because of all these reasons and my personal love to this collection and to this piece, I chose Taima's work.
I love that. For me, it was like an optical illusion. When I first looked at it, I thought the leaf was a shadow and the flower was kind of resting on a table.
Hmm.
And then I realized it's
Yeah.
actually a leaf and the flower's up in the air, which is like a totally different perspective on what how the flower's resting.
Wait, I thought
But
it was. Oh, oh, I saw what you saw. I thought that
Yep.
it was resting on a table, and
Same.
the leaf is the shot. I'm looking at it. I'm listening, and you're like, yeah, no, that's exactly what I thought it was. Okay, okay, all
Same.
right, cool. That's cool.
no, that's a really cool piece. And yeah, it feels so classic. It's almost like it's like a marble sculpture.
Yeah, I love the details in it too. I don't know if I can get closer. Can I get closer? Does that work?
It was slightly closer.
So is it like 2% closer?
Yeah, yeah.
Sweet.
Very,
Guys, stand
very
back. Look out
similar.
for that detail.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's why does it get smaller? Up and then it pops.
Oh, there it is.
There you go.
And also, like,
Ah,
you see the texture really well. I
that's what I'm
love
saying.
that.
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
I love
I'm
tan
gonna have a print
backgrounds.
of that. Yeah, also. Printed would be also, I mean, I've
Yeah,
already asked her, so I'm gonna have the print signed. I'm so
Nice.
excited to hang it
Oh,
amazing.
here. Yeah.
that's great. I love when you can get something from an artist that's signed. It just, personalizes it that much more. All right, I'm gonna take a curveball and go back to myself for this next one because it dovetails nicely from photography to photography. Um, I don't know if this is the name of the piece, but this is by an artist, Julia Sky, and she just put this up and entitled Heavenly. But again, I don't know if that's the name of the piece, but it struck me. The visual, the colors. See if I can bring it up. There it is. It's just a gorgeous piece. I love. It's very calming, but it feels. It feels like someone who's inside of a really protective. I don't know, encasement. Like it feels good. It feels like an emotion that I would want to have if I was like under the covers in my bed, but in like in a really safe space, if that makes any sense. That's kind of the vibe that I'm getting with this. And when I saw it, I was like, it stopped me. So again, I don't know if it's available to be collected, but I know that she does have another piece that is available, which is a different vibe, but it's a little more visceral, and I like this one too. Wet Hot Summer Edition. But yeah, I think her work is great, and I just I don't know, wanted to put it out there.
Dig
That
it. It reminds me of that infrared photography that you see occasionally.
yeah, like what
Void
G Monk was
photographers.
doing with like
Yeah.
Inframonk. It does. It
It
has that kind
reminds
of.
it reminds me of when my cat whips me in the face with its tail. It's always a fun thing.
Exactly. I was about to say that.
I'm a dog
It's
person.
so
I can't
soft.
relate.
It's like a Persian cat, like white,
Yeah.
very soft and sweet.
It feels safe in a good way. Like,
And smells good. My sister is like, oh, it smells so good.
do you get vanilla? I'm getting notes of vanilla. That's what I'm feeling right there. That's
For me, it's like vanilla and cotton candy.
cotton candy. Yes, extra sweet.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
yeah. So beautiful, beautiful work by Julia
I love that.
Sky. All right, let's go for our last, last but not least. It's going to be Welcome Matt.
Yeah.
And am I going to say it right? Bear editions or bar?
I don't know. Be hair? I
Be
don't
hair
know.
or be hair.
So, I'll be honest, this is an artist that kind of came across my timeline in the past week or two. I saw someone retweet it and I was like, this is really cool art.
It is.
It has kind of a throwback to Basquiat or Nina Chanel. And but where those are kind of bright, this artist works very kind of dark. But I just love the textures and the visceralness of it. I love the IKEA welcome home mat aspect to it. I love that IKEA is like a lemon logo. But yeah, this was like an open edition that's still available for pretty cheap on Manifold. So I recommend checking it out. But if you click into the collection, you can see more of work by the artist, and it's just I don't know. I really dug it. That's what I love about like kind of the Twitter timeline is you just get exposed to stuff and you go down this rabbit hole and you're like, oh, this guy's making awesome work.
I love the textures.
Yeah,
So good.
So good. And the colors as well.
yeah.
So good.
No, it's got a great sense of composition and everything.
Yeah.
Excited to dive more into it. I haven't dove into the artist's story much. I've only just dug around the created artwork so far. So this is a fresh find in my mind. Even though they've been making art for a long time, it's only recently come across my radar.
Would you go so far as to say this is good stuff?
It's good stuff, for sure. It's
certified fresh,
stuff.
good stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
What I love is it's those lines like you see, for example, on the flower vase on the top, the plant thing, like the white lines, or like these lines here. I don't know how to call it, like a fence here in the downside, or like the lemon. I just love when I see the illustrators, they have like these like tiny lines and like big contrast. I just love them so much.
Talk about being, intentional with using red, right? Like you said before, red is such a difficult color to work with because of how much space it takes up no matter where it is. It's always a center of attention. And I don't know, it's very dramatic, and it's always one of those things that's hard to integrate, or people shy away from. But I love what they're doing here, especially with the contrasting colors right there. Like it's not exactly blue on red, but it's that muted bluish gray color that kind of hurts your eyes a little bit when you look at it. But
very earthy.
It is, but it's a good. It's really fun to watch. Like I like
crypto
this
punk alien color
for the blue. Yeah, sort of that. No, these are great.
Wow, so many amazing artists you both chose. I love them. Didn't know none of them except Julia Sky.
Yeah,
Thank you.
this is the beauty of being able to do this.
That's what show and tell is all about. Yeah, there's quite a few I hadn't heard of before. I'm excited to follow them and dig deeper.
I love the palette. I love the greens, so like the olive earthy greens and the browns. Yeah, this is I'm here for this. This is great.
So good. So good.
Well, okay. Thank you for show and tell. I don't have like a done with show and tell.
That's all folks logo.
Yeah, I actually and I didn't even get around to thanks for watching. So that's like every episode gets us closer to a more complete episode.
The show packaging will be finished by episode 10.
episode 10, you're 20. At some point. But we just keep showing up, and I appreciate that you, Parin, were able to come and hang out with us, and anybody who
Of
was
course.
watching. Thank you so much for stopping in and checking out what we're doing here. We're trying to do these right now bi-weekly. Might do them a little bit more frequently in the new year. So we'll be off next week, and we'll be back in on whatever the day that is that my brain can't do math on. But so,
12th or something.
yeah,
Or not 12th, something after that. But
it's
yeah,
definitely
if you're in
December.
Miami, come say hi to me and Parin.
Yes,
Yay.
please. And then let me live vicariously by you taking photos and then me just looking at home and being happy to see.
If you're not in Miami, DM Adam.
Yes, please. And then we can get on a Zoom call, have wine and cheese and party.
Yes.
But
Thank you.
this has been wonderful. And thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Oh my God, it was so fun to be here. And you know how much, both of you are dear to me. It was just so fun to, for the first time actually talk to both of you for an hour and a half, which was amazing.
Great.
Thanks for having me. And yeah, thanks for bringing incredibly beautiful artists as well to the show, like the new names that I just heard. So yeah, it was very cool.
Awesome.
Nice.
All right.
That's good stuff.
It's good stuff.
Awesome. Well,
All
yeah.
right.
Well, hopefully we'll see everybody soon. And if you enjoyed the show, feel free to retweet it and share it around.
Please, let's spread the love. I'll send in a little bit. Follow everybody's accounts and follow the show, and we'll spread that too. And we'll put up links to all the pieces that we talked about in the show today. And let's show some artists some love. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a good one.
Bye.